Hello guys, I hope you are well and I hope you haven't got any unnecessary fines since my last video. So welcome to my next tachograph tutorial video, and in this short video we are going to speak about the 12 days rule for coach drivers. What are the exact conditions to work 12 days without weekly rest? Right, before we do that, we have to visit the usual website. So jump to www.transportcommunity.eu and road transport tachograph regulations, like we did that last time, and we need 561 from 2006 and amended version. This one. We are talking about coach driver, about the coach trip, and the driver has the possibility to work 12 consecutive 24-hour periods without a weekly rest, but there are serious conditions, and I just want to introduce these conditions. So the first one is that trip must be a single occasional service, must be international carriage of passengers. So the point is, it has to be an international carriage and a single occasional, like a long trip around Europe, whatever. So for instance, a 10 days single occasional round trip in Europe, that would be a good example. In this case, the driver has the chance, or the drivers has the chance, to postpone the weekly rest period for up to 12 consecutive 24-hour periods following a previous regular weekly rest period. And we are go through the conditions one by one, but the most important is, and I go back to the picture. So let's say you have a regular weekly rest here and you start your long trip here. So that means if you have a long European trip, bus, coach, as a coach driver, you have 12 days and you can work through this period without weekly rest period. But one of the conditions is you have to take a regular weekly rest before you start that period. Back to the regulation, as I said, so you need a previous regular weekly rest, which is for at least 45 hours. The next one. The service lasts at least 24 consecutive hours in a member state or a third country to which this regulation applies, other than the one in which the service started. Let's take a look on a map. So let's say you started this trip in Germany and you have a round trip around Europe. So you need at least one member state, let's say France, that's a big country anyway, where you have to be at least 24 consecutive hours. So you have to be there, you have to, I don't know, just make a trip there, or you have to spend that time in that particular member state. Or it could be a third country, which is not an EU country, but that country, in that country has to be the 561 regulation in force. So an AETR country is not the same, so it's not good. So if in that country the 561 regulation in force, then you can do that in that country too. and that country won't be an EU member state. But if you do that trip in the EU, that's very simple, because you have to take 24 hours in a member state, and as I said before, 24 consecutive hours. So you cannot leave that country. You have to stay there for 24 hours. Now the next one. The driver takes after the use of the derogation. Okay, what kind of weekly rest you have to take if you did that 12 days or less? Maybe you did only 10 days or even 11 days. It's up to the trip. So let's go back to the picture. So after the 12 days period, so you did that trip, you finished that trip, of course you have to take weekly rest anyway. But what kind of weekly rest you have to take after a 12 days, maximum 12 days period? Now there are two options. Option 1, you have to take 2 regular weekly rest. That means altogether 90 hours. So 90 hours break, 90 hours weekly rest. Or option 2, you take 1 regular plus 1 reduced weekly rest. So that will be 45 hours plus 24 hours. Altogether at least 69 hours minimum. But in this case, just do not forget to compensate that 24 hours weekly rest. The compensation is absolutely the same like I explained in my previous video. So you have to compensate by the end of the 3rd week, which is the following week. So that will be week 1, week 2, and the next one week 3. So somewhere here. So by the end of the 3rd week, so before that you have to add back these missing hours somewhere here. Okay, let's see what other conditions we have. So we go back to the regulation. That was the weekly rest, of course. And the vehicle must be equipped with digital tachograph. Okay, that's a regulation which is not in force anymore. It just changed already, 165 from 2014, but that's the digital tachograph. So you cannot do that 12 days rule with an analog tachograph. So you have to the vehicle must be equipped with digital tachograph. And other conditions, that's the last one. After 1st of January 2014, if driving during the period from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., the vehicle is multi-manned, or the driving period referred to in Article 7 is reduced to 3 hours. Okay, so if in that case, if you want to use this 12 days rule, and if you want to drive in the middle of the night, so from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., then you have to, that the vehicle must be multi-manned, or the driver period has to be reduced to 3 hours. That one is very simple. If there is one driver on the board, the driver can drive only 3 hours instead of 4.5 hours between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And if the vehicle is multi-manned, so there are 2 drivers on the board, they can work in a multi-man system. So that's it for now, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Do not pay any unnecessary fines. And as I used to say, just keep your money in your wallet, and see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. If you would like to support our work, please subscribe to the Pro package. You can do so on the Transport Community website, which is www.transportcommunity.eu, and then pick the membership levels page and Pro monthly or Pro yearly plan, which is less than €7.5 per month. But of course, as you see here, you have 3 days trial, which is completely free. But if you are over the 3 days and still not satisfied, I give you 100% money back guarantee. Join the transport community today and keep your money in your wallet. Enjoy trucking and don't be afraid of the law.